Hey there, my name's Trudy, One Grounded Angel as many of you know me, and this is an angel card reading for the week starting Monday, August the 9th through to the 15th, 2021. So if you're new here, welcome. Each week I do one of these videos where I shuffle a card deck of oracle cards. Some of them are angel cards. I don't use tarot. And the aim is just to get guidance for each day of the week ahead. And the reason I do it in a video is because it helps us explore some of the themes that are emerging across the entire week. So here is Monday's card, Focus upon Divine and Perfect Health. So there are, depending what's going on in your life, there are a couple of ways this could relate to you. One, if you are dealing with a health condition at the moment, this is asking you to do, or sort of empowering you really, to seek out the intuitive forms of treatment that are speaking to you. So if you get a feeling that maybe the health professional you're working with is missing something, or is going down a path that doesn't feel quite like the full picture, you might like to get a second opinion or find another path. Remember that there's lots of different ways to approach health conditions, and alternative medicine is designed to complement Western rather than replace it. So you might like to look at alternative forms of healing to help assist your body to respond to whatever treatment you're doing. The other way to look at this, if you're not dealing with a health condition, is just to focus on your health more generally, because we often tend to neglect it, even though it's such a fundamental part of our ability to have lives that are rich and full of meaning and joy and love and all those beautiful things we want. If we aren't healthy enough to enjoy them, it's a lot more difficult, or to make choices that support them, it is much more difficult. So you might like to look at some of those cornerstones in terms of the nutrition, the exercise, the quality sleep, the relaxation, making sure you're doing all those things to support your physical health, which therefore will support your emotional health and your spiritual health as well. I should also point out the word focus. So obviously with what I just shared, as a general message, focusing on your health is important. Two things to say about that. One is you don't have to be perfect. In fact, please do not be perfect. I know the word says perfect health, but I'm wary about using the word perfect because I don't think perfect is possible, and we're all busy. We have to be realistic about what's possible for us within our time constraints. You know, we can't be perfect all the time or any of the time. We just have to try and do better than what we're doing at the moment in terms of eating more vegetables, not eating only vegetables, and never letting anything touch our lips that isn't on the bottom of the health pyramid. But we just need to do a better job of getting that balance better. Again, perfect balance, not super possible. The other thing I would say about that word focus is, if you are dealing with a health condition at the moment, where you focus is going to be super important. So if you're focused on the worst case scenario, or fear about what could go wrong, that's not going to help you. Obviously, it's normal to have fears, and the aim is not to eradicate fear entirely, which is completely unrealistic. The aim is just to make sure it's not taking up so much mental real estate that it's all you can think about. We need to try and put it in perspective, and not let that blind us to what our intuition is telling us, and not let that blind us from being able to focus on hope, or the ability to look at what we can control if other things are not possible for us right now. So that's a strong way to start the week for Monday. We had a card around healthy living recently, and it got a lot of likes on Insta. People really responded well to that, and I guess that's because although it's not new information, it is a reminder that we all need at various points, because life gets busy. So Tuesday, Aphrodite here in the goddess. This is about the divine feminine. Now, whatever gender you identify with, if you identify with any gender at all, we all have both the divine masculine and the divine feminine within us as energies. It's not about it's not about your physical gender or sex. It's about the energy that's within us. So this is about the divine feminine, which is the part of us that's associated with wisdom, intuitive abilities, creativity, sexuality. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I could feel that cough coming on. So this is about channeling that. Now, my eyes are getting drawn to this dove here, which is, of course, all about peace. So maybe there is a message here about finding peace with that feminine side. Of course, we live if you're in the West, in a Western society that likes to diminish the power of the feminine and see it as too emotional, etc., rather than seeing it as a sign of strength, because that feminine energy is also the part of us that nurtures. And thank goodness men are now encouraged to be nurturers of their family rather than being removed as they were in previous generations. So is there one of those attributes that's missing from your life? Are you not spending enough time nurturing others? Unlikely. Most people I see are doing, if anything, more of that than they are nurturing themselves. And perhaps that is what you need to take from this, nurturing yourself. Maybe it's about sensuality, stepping more into your sexual expression and getting more comfortable with that, healing any trauma that might be around that. We could also look at with this the intuitive side. I guess I'm not saying again that intuition is something that men don't have. Obviously, everybody has it to varying degrees. Well, I would say we all have it, but just some of us are not super aware of it or willing to explore it. What could you do to deepen your awareness or your connection with the divine, your understanding, your ability to communicate with the divine, your ability to understand what your divine guidance is telling you, and your willingness to step into that. So maybe it's about, working on your spiritual side a bit more. So there's lots of different ways this could show up. There's so much I could say about that, but I won't. Wednesday, purification, white rose. Now this is really about sort of a detox. It's not about a physical detox, which isn't really necessary since your body has a liver and the organs to do detoxing. It's more about an energetic detox. So clearing out anything that's not serving you energetically. Perhaps that is friendships that have become unhealthy, letting go of those. It could be about getting yourself out of situations that are unhealthy in terms of workplaces, maybe looking for a new job, moving away from, maybe if you go to places that you're starting to notice are provoking you, they're not super healthy for you. For example, for me, I don't drink alcohol anymore, so going to nightclubs, obviously this is before COVID, was not super pleasurable for me anymore because there were so many people trying to drown their sorrows, trying to escape from their reality rather than people who are committed to growth and working on their reality. Now that's not everybody. Obviously there were a lot of people there who were just happy to have fun and enjoy themselves, and it's not about the alcohol either. It's more, for me, it was about the energy there. So, and that's not to say that sober people don't have the same tendency in some other way. But what I'm saying is the energy in a nightclub very late at night was really too hectic for me. It was really provoking for me. Particularly when you've got men who are starting to get really aggressive. So that's something to think about, are there places you're going that maybe you're not in alignment with anymore? And I'm not saying that you need to avoid nightclubs, by the way. This is just an example, and perhaps not a very good one in hindsight. But yeah, just looking at what is going on within you that you are maybe not responding to super well anymore. In fact, it's really provoking you. Now, one thing I should say about that is, even though I just said it's not about physical health, there could be for some of you a food group that your body is telling you it's not really down with anymore, that you do need to find a way to avoid. If you know that your body doesn't handle gluten very well, but you haven't really taken control of the situation by actually figuring out how to eat without as much gluten in your life, this might be giving you a little bit of a firm reminder, hey, the body's not happy, you need to do something about that and listen to what you already know is not working for you. So maybe you're overdoing the caffeine. I don't know. I don't stand in judgment of that sort of thing because I totally understand where people are coming from. But, people metabolize things in different ways. So if there is a food or drink element coming through there, pay attention to it and figure out ways that you can move away from that, because your body will be happier. When your body's happier, everything's happier, your emotional health, your mental health, your mental well-being, I should say more, and of course your spiritual health. It's easier to be at peace, going back to that dove message that was on the previous card. Now here we have Thursday's card, Awakening. I can't help but be struck by how similar the woman here looks to this one here. So I'm wondering if it's this divine feminine message coming through again. This card is actually called Awakening, and the most obvious meaning to go to with that is about a spiritual awakening, if you're going through that at the moment. This card might be coming through to confirm that's what's going on, to encourage you to support yourself by making good choices about who you spend time with, steering clear of things that are provoking for you, etc., as I've already noted. But it could be about another sort of awakening. Maybe you need to wake up to something that's going on in your life that needs your attention or needs a different choice. Maybe something's been going on that you subconsciously knew but perhaps weren't consciously willing to sit with or weren't consciously aware of because being too busy focusing on other things, as we all are from time to time. And maybe this is saying about you waking up, I should say, and saying, hey, it's time to do something about this. Even if you're not quite ready right now, at least accepting what needs to be done is a good positive first step. I feel, because of the motion that's depicted here, I feel this could also be about a very Leo-esque message. Of course, the sun's in Leo at the moment, about taking action and moving forward, being assertive, doing what needs to be done. Is there some change you need to make, something that needs to happen? This might be encouraging you to actually move forward and do it. Something you've been thinking about for a while, but you keep putting off because it hasn't felt like the right time. It probably will never be the right time, but they want you to get started anyway. And the time just flicked to 11:11 when I said that. And even though I'm not super into angel numbers, that felt significant to me. The fact that I happen to notice it as well, usually I'm too busy rabbiting on and not even noticing the time. So there's some big energy around that, I feel, about taking control, taking charge of your life and moving forward in some area where you've been stuck or avoiding taking action, and that goes for me as well. So Friday, patience, beautiful imagery here of an angel doing some gardening. I know I have spoken about this so many times, but the gardening is a beautiful analogy for how we move forward in our lives. We plant the seeds, we water them, we tend to them, we pull out the weeds. It could be the detox message there. And then we wait for it to grow, and we have to be patient for that. We don't know when it's going to grow and bloom. We don't have any control over that. We just have control over the setting of the goals and the working towards them and maintaining them. That's it. The rest we just have to have patience with. Archangel Jophiel is depicted here. That is the Archangel of Beauty. Maybe something I do sometimes if I'm finding my mindset's a little bit stagnant is I ask Jophiel to beautify my thoughts. Beautify my thoughts. That's not an easy word to say, is it? And that helps a lot. I can feel, of course it doesn't change my mindset, only I can really do that, but it does help lift some of that heavier mindset stuff going on, those thought patterns, enough for me to take better control of them. Now the words on here I feel could speak to someone. Your dreams are blooming more rapidly than you realise. Still, they need nurturing and patience. So again, about working on yourself, nurturing yourself, and showing up in a way that you need to make progress with what you're doing. But again, trusting that it'll happen when the universe determines that the time is right. You're not there yet, but keep showing up. You're on the right track. Saturday's card echoes everything I just said. It's intention. So I've mentioned before with this card how the way that this angel is holding those candles reminds me of like one of those people in high vis on a tarmac. Remember flying? How they use those not flares, those like light things to shepherd the plane along into its berth or wherever it goes, into its dock. Clearly I'm not an aviation person, but it just reminds me of that in terms of being shepherded into the right position. And I think that's what the angels are saying. You set the intention, and then we'll guide you into place. So, but you've got to start the ball rolling. Sometimes people sit back and say, "I'm waiting for the universe to give me a sign of what I should do." It doesn't work that way. The universe is waiting for you to decide what you want, and then it will help you. And of course, again, it's a partnership, so you need to keep doing the work, tending to that. So, a lot of stuff coming up around setting goals here. Now, card deck have I not used yet? I'll go to this card deck now for Sunday. Card just absolutely jumped out. This is a card called Serena. If your name is Serena, you'll like this especially. And it's the angel of abundance, apparently. I'm not super familiar with angel names, but that's the energy of this card. And it says you will receive the money that you need, and God is in charge of how that will happen. Have faith. Isn't that so appropriate given what we've just shared? God is in charge of how that will happen. again, we set the intentions, we work towards it, the universe decides how it happens. Now, I use the words God and the universe interchangeably. I tend to use the universe more than God because I know a lot of people have had, not great experiences in institutional religion, and sometimes it can be really triggering if I use the word God. But remember that religions don't own God. They don't at all. No one does. And so God is an energy that we can all access, and it's not the type of image that has been, the institutional religion has associated as someone who is judgmental and wanting to punish us. That's not how we think of God in a spiritual sense. So anyway, I just find it easier to say the universe because it's less provoking for people who've been sent those harmful messages. And I'm not saying that all religion is bad, I'm just saying that some of them have maybe taken the image of God into a place that doesn't resonate with me personally. So anyway, we're going back to the idea of abundance, tangent, and primarily that's about money, but it doesn't have to be. It's really about any material resources we need: food, shelter, air, anything like that. I know it's weird to think of air as a material, but you know what I mean. So understanding you have enough, all your needs are being met, you are not going to be lacking. You do not have to spend your life worrying that you're going to run out. You will be provided for. Does that mean you'll be wealthy? Maybe not. Doesn't matter. You'll always have enough. And so encouraging you to trust that you have that is part of this message here. And particularly for those, because we've been talking about goals, those who are talking about things that where they're moving away from perhaps a secure job situation where the money has always been something they could count on a certain amount at a certain time, like clockwork, never had to worry about it quite so much, whereas they're moving perhaps into self-employment or something else like, something contractual. I don't know. Maybe this is a card for you letting you know that you're going to receive the money. You're going to have enough of what you need. Doesn't mean it won't fluctuate, but it does mean you'll always have enough of what you need. So trust in that, and remember that you've got to, if you've got any blocks around that, being able to trust the universe, that's something that you might want to work with an energy healer to do, because if you've got that going on, that fear, you're going to start to project that fear out there, and then you'll attract more lack. So this is a week around goal setting that's coming through very strongly. I think this divine feminine energy is coming through really strongly, particularly around the nurturing side, the nurturing ourselves, the nurturing our goals. But there are lots of other ways that could come through. I'll try and write a bit more about that when I post this on Instagram. So yeah, there's a lot going on here, but I think they're pretty well connected. So that's it for this week. That's August the 9th to the 15th, 2021. I post each card on my Instagram at One Grounded Angel, or my Facebook page is called One Grounded Angel. If you want to find out more work about the energy healing, find out more about the work I do as an energy healer, as an angel card reader, both of those modalities go into one session. I offer them both because they're so complementary. Anyway, you can do that at my website, www.onegroundedangel.com, onegroundedangel.com. There's a booking form there you can fill out, and there's also a what I do tab that tells you a lot more about basically how I work. And remember that I do work over Zoom, so it doesn't matter where in the world you are, it doesn't matter if you're in lockdown, we can still continue to work together. That is the great joy of technology, not that it doesn't have its problems. So thank you for being here. I hope this has been helpful for you, helps inform how you approach the week, helps you get clarity on those goals and how you're going to go about moving forward with them. I love how these are so appropriate for Leo season. Have a great week, everybody, and I'll look forward to reading some cards for you again next week. Take care.